Step by step, we go up the ladder through higher and higher levels of understanding, higher levels of consciousness. And as we go through higher levels of consciousness, the analogy is that, like climbing a ladder, our view of life and the world and everything around us becomes broader and broader.
You deeply identify with it, you fuse to it, you do all the things that you need to do. You learn, you grow. They can be stuck in this differentiation place where they're stuck between rungs. They're transcending, but they can't quite make it to the higher rung. And they also feel as if they're just stretched in between the two because they can't quite differentiate cleanly. And if you're one of those people who come here because you love anything that has to be that's connected to the intersection of psychology and spirituality, today's your day. Just relax and release. Just let it go. If you move deeply into this spiritual state, you don't have to do anything. And I felt weird about this, y'all, but I was not comfortable with that. It didn't ring true to me. It rang false. Because as a trauma therapist, I was like, that's not how it works. We have shadows. We have unresolved trauma. We have things that if they are not worked out, it does get in the way of our growth and development. These repressed lower parts of ourself on lower rungs of consciousness. So, the self that only is 90% there, as it were, 10% of its awareness is stuck at moral level one or at rung number one, stuck in this little unconscious blob residing in the basement and using its 10% of awareness to attempt to get the entire organism to act according to its wishes and impulses and interpretations. So you have these little, quote, barbarians running around in the basement, impulsively demanding to be fed, to be catered to, and to be the center of your universe.
Yeah. So the way I'm envisioning this, we've talked about the rungs on the ladder, right? And first, you have this kind of fusion. You get to a certain stage, you want both feet on the rung, you want to feel very secure there. But then life pushes us to move up levels of consciousness. And there's oftentimes a struggle to get off of the rung that we're securely on. And so, in this transcend period, as we move from one rung of understanding to a higher rung of understanding, there can be some conscious pushback that we're aware of until we finally get to a higher rung and we then turn around and try to transcend.
Okay, so the first kind of shadow that happens is where we are in early stages of development and we look around and we're trying out how to be a human being, and someone on the outside signals to us that there's something wrong with that thing. And so we bury that aspect of our selfhood in in the basement, as it were, to stay with this metaphor, to the degree that I am not aware of my own woundedness, imperfection, call it what you will, underdevelopment. I am more critical of you for being that very thing because it's tapping into something that I have hidden in the basement. Okay. At any point in time, whatever level of consciousness I'm at, there's probably about a 25% chance I am living below that center of gravity, 25% chance I'm living above it, I'm evolving, I'm transcending, and then about 50% of the time I'm at that center of gravity itself.
If you don't transform it, you will transmit it.
Wilber says this in depth psychology, shadow work, we recontact these lower or earlier parts of ourselves so that they can be released from their fixation and dissociation and rejoin the ongoing flow of consciousness evolution. Every last one of us has parts of our identity that are left behind on various rungs. Like it's almost like our core blob is hijacked by some earlier part of our consciousness, and we don't even realize it until we see the way that they have wreaked havoc on a relationship or on a certain moment in time.
In my faith journey, I have come to a total and complete understanding. I say that openly acknowledge the evils of patriarchy and the damage that it does to both men and women. But I have still a shadow that I have not been able to fully heal from. And that is a desire for a stronger matriarchal, a stronger feminine energy that I wish had been more present in my life when I was a child. I have no qualms intellectually about the need to acknowledge both the feminine and masculine power, the feminine, masculine, divine. But my little boy self hasn't fully healed from what I wish had been a more protective feminine power in my young life.
Wow.
And I know that is why I still sometimes struggle to address the divine in both forms, because internally I have a shadow that the feminine power wasn't there for me when I needed it. If there was ever in my life an example of somebody uh, from the feminine who is strong, it would be you. And you are helping me in some ways break down those barriers.
Masculinity cannot be healthy without its counterbalance of femininity
Sure.
and vice versa. If we want to evolve in consciousness and expand to where we are capable of more and more love and higher degrees of perspective taking, where we can truly understand the hearts of others around us, we have to be willing to go backwards. To go forwards in development, we have to go backwards too. We can't just press forward and pretend like those things don't exist or that they don't get in the way or that they don't cost us energy because they do. The more we confront these things and love on our earlier selves and talk about them and address them, they become integrated with us and we become more and more able to expand to higher and higher degrees of consciousness development, which is spirituality.